local sports show, weekdays at 5 on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
From the Kia of Cleveland Studios, this is ESPN Cleveland 101.3, WCLE HD2 Cleveland, W267BI Cleveland, ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The top of the hour is presented by Best Buy Metals, making the top of your house the best it can be. Visit bestbuymetalroofing.com.
It's time for The Drive on ESPN Cleveland 101.3, presented by Hardees. We will bring you nonstop sports news from the national and local scene and everything in between. So buckle up and join in on the conversation. It's The Drive.
Don't take no style. Got a thirst for killing. Think your body. Woo!
Welcome back to The Drive here on ESPN Cleveland. Andy Morris here along with Jacob Mason and Jim Gum. After such a busy sports weekend going all the way back to last Friday, high school football, Florida State getting upset by Virginia. So much going on over the weekend, and it really bled over into Sunday to where we had some big-time stuff going on in the NFL, Ryder Cup.
It ends with a tie between in the NFL. I'm sorry, guys. The NFL has got to fix that. The day of ties, to me, people don't want to see it. Somehow, some way, you got to have a winner for a football game. At least college football eliminated that in 1996. And here we are in 2025. The NFL still has ties. And that, to me, that Dallas Green Bay game was so good, and yet there was no satisfaction at the end of the game.
Yeah, that and then the Ryder Cup rule where if somebody can't compete, then they write down like the worst golfer in an envelope, and then it's automatically a tie. Like, what if that would have came down to like America needing that half point?
I don't know.
And I can't even get started with the Ryder Cup. Like,
the fans were ridiculous, by the way.
They were rowdy. That's not even the part that like makes me mad. The fact that we came out there and dominated singles, like that tells me we have better golfers. Like, they went out there and played their own ball, and they won basically every match except one. But the Europeans have figured out how to play team golf, and they wiped the floor. Like, it was hard for me. Like, I couldn't turn my eyes because I was like, okay, maybe they're going to turn this thing around. But Friday and Saturday just got their butts kicked up and down the golf course. Then to go out on Sunday and be like, oh, yeah, I remember how to play golf.
Yeah. The Europeans, their putting was unbelievable on Friday and Saturday. They knocked down every good putt that they have. It was incredible to watch their putting.
Well,
it really was.
They played good partner golf.
Yeah, they did.
Like, at the end of the day, like, they just played really good partner golf. Like, I think about going out there with my buddy and playing an alternate shot and saying, all right, man, like, you had a bad shot here, I'm going to pick you up.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw a post-tournament interview with Scotty, and he seemed so frustrated. You could just tell. He talked about his teammates picking him up, though. He said those guys were there for me, after a rough day. And not many times have you seen him as emotional as he was.
Yeah, and, that's got to be weighing on him because he's the number one golfer in the world, and he walked away with 1 point that weekend. Again, playing his own ball. Like, that's what I struggle with is – and then even then, though, like, in four ball – it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's still the same thing. Like, you're still going out there and playing your ball. I just don't get it. They absolutely – there's something about the camaraderie between the Europeans. I don't know how many, like, dinners these guys need to go to. I don't know how many, like, social outings. But if they don't get this thing fixed soon, the Europeans for the next 4 years with this generation of golfers are just going to wipe us off the map in the Ryder Cup.
Mm. Well, it was disappointing, but – let's move on to football.
Yeah, so on that cue, Jim, you already mentioned it, Green Bay and Dallas. 40-40 tie. Just absolutely appalling in my opinion. Can't have that happening at this day and age in football. That college football hasn't figured out. Why the NFL doesn't take notes from college football is beyond me. I put that on Roger Goodell, but there is no reason to have a game of that magnitude ending in a tie. There's no reason for that.
Yeah, it's an issue. And the thing about that is that the NFL, of course, the overtime is not even 15 minutes. It's 10, which that bothers me. I mean, I just think that there's got to be some way. You play the quarter, and if it's still tied, then do what college football does.
Well, I have
You
an
know what I'm
idea.
saying?
I have an idea. What's the most fun thing in football? What happens in a game that's the most exciting? When they score. Why not start them in the red zone like they do in college and say, hey, here's your 4 downs. Let's go play some football. You're going to have more scoring, a lot more exciting. And you know why? I can tell you why. It's going to affect gambling odds. That's exactly why.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never thought about it that way, but it's true. Like the over, the under. Like,
And NFL games are always so close. There's tons of overtime games. So that I guarantee you, Vegas has a say in this and saying, timeout, you can't do that to us. You can't do that.
That's an interesting thought.
That's my opinion.
I hadn't thought about the gambling angle at all.
But that's the college football overtime is perfect. Now you could tweak the
it used
extra
to be
points.
more perfect than it is now. I don't
Yes.
like the 2-point conversion stuff.
Yeah,
at all.
I'm not a huge fan of that, but at the end of the day, Georgia's still getting the same opportunity that Tennessee's getting. Going back to that game, because I want to make Jacob feel good for a minute before we talk about that Georgia-Alabama game. But I love that Jacob just gave a little snicker there.
Tough.
Well, that Oregon and Penn State game, it was double overtime. It's stuff like that, guys. It's just it was awesome TV. You could not take your eyes off of those games. There were several. Look, Tennessee had to go to overtime. There were several games this past weekend that went right down to the wire, and you had overtime. So Florida State loses in double overtime. Just all sorts of great games over the weekend.
And before we transition full on, because we got a lot of college football to talk about, plenty of college football to talk about. Tennessee Titans, not much to talk about. Fall to 0-4. Losing to the Texans of all teams to get shut out by to go 0-4. Houston Texans come up on top 26-0 in that game, and that's a matchup that those people out in Texas, out there in Houston, they look forward to that game every time it's on the schedule.
Well,
they're getting ready to play. They want to make sure that they wipe the floor with the Titans, and they did it.
The former Oilers are now the Titans, and of course, there's a lot of animosity in the city of Houston about that franchise, much like the Browns fans know that the Ravens were the Browns until 1995. So we all know that there's some animosity there, and I get that. But the Titans, they weren't even competitive.
Yeah,
in that
it's
game.
rough. And it reminded me of the Falcons the week before.
And then what I can't figure out the Falcons.
I'm
y'all.
telling you,
I can't figure that.
They go
game
up to
out.
Minnesota and look like $1 million.
They look great.
And then
Get shut up by the Panthers.
yeah, last week against the Panthers looked like they've never played football before. And then the team formerly known as the Redskins, they go out there and whip up on them 34-27. And I feel like the score's a little bit closer than that game really was, because the Falcons were in complete control, I felt like, the entire time.
Yeah, I can't figure out the Falcons. 3 weeks in a row, great, horrendous, great again. I mean, just there's no in between.
Yeah, Drake London had a huge day, 8 receptions, 110 yards, and a touchdown, and that was part of their game plan going in. They fired their receiver coach. They said, we need to get Drake London the ball, and they did it. Kyle Pitts got involved. They used Kyle Pitts quite a bit, which he's a guy, I've been saying this ever since the Falcons drafted him. He has got an opportunity to be one of the best tight ends in the league with the right quarterback, which I think Michael Penix is just that, and he's got the tools if he'll just buy in. We've heard people from Florida say even down here he was successful, but you could just tell he was worried about other things. Like if he locks in, easily one of the best tight ends in the league outside of Brock Bowers. Like he's that next tier down.
Yeah, he definitely could be. I thought when the Falcons drafted him, I was like, yeah, it's really dangerous because he basically can function like a wide receiver in the slot, but also bounce back in and play your traditional tight end. And that's kind of what Brock Bowers is able to do as well. Like you're able to put him anywhere on the field. But I'm with you. I can't tell what Atlanta team is going to show up on which given Sunday. You never know what you're getting from them, but sometimes I feel like that with these teams that are looking for an identity in the NFL. You see that a lot. Like weeks they pop off, and then some weeks they look like the worst team that steps onto a field. So I don't know. Verdict's still out. Same with the Titans. I think about them with Will Levis. His stats through the first 4 games of the year were just about the same, if not a little bit better, but we're giving Cam Ward the pass because he was a number 1 pick. I feel bad for Will Levis. Like, dude's out of a job for the same similar start.
For being surrounded by mediocre
Yeah, you don't
guys.
have anybody around you.
Yeah.
And like Cam Ward could be the most talented quarterback in the country, but if you don't have anybody to throw the football to, like, that's tough.
Yeah.
Callahan, the head coach, he looks like it's over his head right now. I don't know if he's the right guy to lead that franchise. I guess I'm just looking at it from afar, but
I'll say this.
There's a lot of people in Nashville who are not happy
Well,
with
I was
it.
worried about Raheem Morris coming into this game until, Michael Penix throws for 313 yards, 2 touchdowns, did throw an interception. It was kind of a, not a bad interception if that.
It was an aggressive play on his part.
And but the backfield down there in Atlanta, Bijan Robinson, Algier, those guys each had a rushing touchdown and 75 yards for Bijan. I think that's a guy that could emerge. You're talking best running backs in the NFL. He's right there on the cusp of being one of the absolute best.
Yeah, he's got the talent to do it.
I think he's definitely top 10.
He's so hard to bring down. It's amazing some of the stuff he's able to happen. But so big win for the Atlanta Falcons, 34-27 over the Washington Commanders, formerly known as the Redskins. I throw that out there every time. Of course, tonight, Monday Night Football, Jets at Dolphins. Did you guys see the Dolphins, everything they're pulling out for Monday Night Football, the uniforms and all that stuff? Pretty slick. They're doing like a dark mode.
I hadn't seen what they're wearing. I guess I haven't.
I'm going to have to pull that up for you guys. And then right after, Jim Gumbs, Cincinnati Bengals, are in Denver taking on the Broncos at 8:15.
Yeah, there's no Joe Burrow under center, though, so
No.
My expectations are very, very low-key, if you will. Listen, if they just are competitive, I'll be happy.
Do y'all like this like double-header Monday night stuff?
I don't mind it.
I'd prefer it be a standalone game, but, I mean, that's the NFL for you. One game's on ESPN. I guess that's the Dolphins and Jets. The other game on ABC, that's Cincinnati and Denver. I don't know why they do it. But because there's only 1 hour difference between the kickoffs. So you're going to have to make, well, I guess not you and I, we got the split screen. But some people have no choice. They have to make a decision. Which game I'm watching?
Yeah, well, a few weeks ago, they started the Raiders-Chargers game at like 10:15 because it was a West Coast game.
Right.
And so, like, that's what
And I was okay with that, but this
Yeah.
is a 7 and 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
I don't get that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to – for a guy that likes to consume – for me, it's fine because I can use YouTube TV and split it. Like,
Yep, same here.
Saturday was awesome, even though it was not.
Let's dive in. College football time, fellas.
Yeah, Saturday was awesome just because there were so many good games going on. You also had the Ryder Cup. Like, at one point in time, like, my family was probably starting to get a little frustrated with me because I was using the YouTube TV builder, and, like, I would take the Ryder Cup off, and then I'd put another game on.
Right.
And then I would put NASCAR qualifying up in one corner and just constantly moving. There were just so many good games. Like, LSU Ole Miss. Like, what a game.
Yeah, great game.
And then what about Notre Dame? My goodness, they look.
I
knew there's a reason that they never fell out of the rankings, and we saw that on display. They dominated Arkansas. That game was over with halfway into the second quarter.
Well,
over.
I feel bad because they got Sam Pittman fired.
That's true.
That Arkansas pulled.
No, Sam Pittman got himself fired.
He did. But when Notre Dame goes into your house like that and treats you that way, they just, I guess, Marcus Freeman and the Irish decided it's Bobby motorcycle time.
That stadium was half empty at halftime.
The Notre Dame going for it like a fake punt. Like, to me, that's almost like rubbing insult to injury. Like, that game is over. Like, what are you trying to do there? Like, what's the purpose there?
I'll say this. I'm trying to remember what the score was when that happened. That was a situation where you're on their side of the field and you're trying to get experience.
I mean,
doing
it was
some
the
things.
first half.
So I listened to Marcus Freeman's. I listened to Marcus Freeman's explanation of that today, and he talked about like we're trying to get better.
Yeah,
We're worried about Notre Dame.
At the end of the day, you're there to win.
And,
Like, I get
most
that.
of the second half, he played a second team.
You do stuff like that in the first. I have no problem with it because you still got another half of football where Arkansas could make a heck of a run. So, and if you do stuff like that and it's in the first half,
I'll be honest. I turned that game off after it got out. So I just saw that clip. I wasn't sure when it actually happened. I watched the Auburn Texas A&M, another really good game. Kind kind of stealing one out of. Go ahead, you.
Yeah, the final of that Notre Dame Arkansas game was 56-13. By the way, understandable why Pittman's getting fired. It wasn't just that game; everything leading up to that.
Yeah.
Now I will say this: I'm surprised they pulled the trigger when they did. Have y'all read his buyout clause?
I have not.
So he has.
They got that Walmart money though.
He's got what he's got. One of the. It's not really the money, but he's got one of those like most interesting buyouts that I've seen. Like the stipulation was from 2021. If your record is above 500,
Yes, I did see that.
then it's $9 million. If your record is below
Wow.
500, it's $6 million.
And
So,
he's below.
no,
He's not.
above.
It's like
not?
one game over,
Yeah,
right?
he's
Oh,
got,
I thought he was one
he
under.
Needed, he needed 2 more losses
To get
be,
under.
to be at 500, I think.
Yeah.
And so, like, I really thought, like, after reading that, I was like, okay, like, they're just going to let this play out and they're going to can him halfway through. But I think after the way that they lost to Notre Dame, the fans were.
Well, the fans were leaving the game, getting out of their seats and walking out and booing in the third quarter.
Well, and I hate it for Sam Pittman.
I do
because
too.
He's a guy that loves that state. You know, like it was
It was his dream job.
That was his dream job, and he didn't. You know,
A lot of people there are upset about it too. They understand it and they're on board with it, but it's sad because they love and respect him so much.
And I'll be honest, I hope he comes back to the University of Georgia tomorrow.
Here's my thing. I don't know if you guys know the history of Arkansas. They were a national power up until the day they entered the Southeastern Conference. They were it was them and Texas dominated the Southwest Conference. Ever since Arkansas joined the SEC, they've been good in every other sport.
I know.
Basketball been good, track and field we know. In football, they've been less than mediocre. They're below 500 in the SEC since they joined in 1992. And things are not changing there. They just are. They've had a few, good seasons here and there. They played in the SEC championship game, I think, twice. But they're really they're another team in the SEC. They're not an elite team anymore.
1998, Clint Sterner. Vols fans that were around
Drops the ball.
remember that game.
Yeah.
Arkansas
They were
was
undefeated.
undefeated.
Yeah, they were undefeated.
They were undefeated. That kept Tennessee undefeated, led to Tennessee going on to play for a national title. And so I've got a couple really good friends that are huge from Arkansas, big Razorback fans. And going back to Darren McFadden is probably one of the best contending teams. Peyton Hillis, Felix Jones.
They produced some great players.
Yeah,
They have.
Matt Jones. So those were some of the best Arkansas teams in recent memory. They've had a couple over the past maybe 10 years or so that have been competitive. But outside of that, you're exactly right. You nailed it, Jim. I believe the last time they even were in a conversation for a national title was when they played Texas, and I think that was like
69.
Yeah, 69. I was going to say 59, but
Yeah, that was Darrell Royal for Texas and Frank Broyles for Arkansas. President Nixon was there after Texas won the game. He declared Texas as national champion. It was so funny because Penn State was undefeated at the
Yes.
same time, and President Nixon had to kind of I apologize because listen, the election was coming up. He wanted to get that Pennsylvania vote, so he had to backtrack a little bit there. But no, that was 1969. That was I actually remember that, if y'all can believe that. Yeah, y'all can believe it. I mean, for crying out loud, I'm so much older than y'all.
I don't remember it, but I've studied that stuff and have a big time respect for it. But let's talk about the Volunteers for a second. In overtime down in Starkville, 41-34 victory on the road for Tennessee. And Mississippi State is a team that I think has kind of been overlooked by a lot of people, especially watching that game. That's a good ball club down there. That's a very good ball club.
Yeah, it shows what the portal can do, like just getting some pieces that you need and going out and doing that. Also, like you can tell that they're headed in the right direction.
Yeah, Levy's got it going there.
Yeah, the offensive line, the rush, like the rush attack, they got some push off the ball. They were able to run on Tennessee. The thing that they struggled with was pass protecting. Tennessee ate their lunch in the passing game when it came to trying to give him some time. But my brother-in-law was down there. He said, funny enough, he said, you think the bells are loud, but it's almost louder on TV. Like it's more so like a TV thing. And I started to think about it. If you ring the bells, if you're ringing them up, that sound's going up. Like it's gonna be loud, but it's not gonna be like if you were ringing it towards the field, maybe it'd be a little bit louder. But he confirmed the whole respectful bell ringing thing.
Yeah, I paid attention to that.
Yeah.
Watching the game on TV, and I feel like they did a pretty decent job with it.
He said they threw it up on the jumbotron
Video board.
every time.
If you want to keep them,
Yeah.
put them up for a minute.
Yeah, and so you could tell that they were cutting it off as they were going up to the line of scrimmage and stuff like that. But Mississippi State's they're going to beat somebody they're not supposed to. I mean, they've already done with Arizona
they already
State.
did Arizona
But
State.
in conference play. They're going to beat somebody they're not supposed to.
I mean, Jeff Levy's done a pretty good job there. They're good, and you're right. I think they will upset somebody, but they're not quite as deep as you would like to see, like a Georgia or an Alabama or LSU or Ole Miss. There's a depth factor that's always an issue at Mississippi State, and that's probably always been like that. They don't have the depth that a lot of the other powers have got.
So I got a question for you guys. Concerning or not concerning? Joey Aguilar, 2 interceptions.
They were both tipped, but that's on him. Though the ball was not thrown accurately. That's the reason they were tipped. He has a tendency to throw picks. He just does.
Yeah,
I think it's an issue. I do.
I'm unsure yet. I think you're starting to see some old things creep out of him. I think his style of play also, like the whole clock management thing, was an issue.
Oh,
we
my gosh.
We were texting about that.
There's no doubt.
But Josh Heupel also had an answer to that, he can't hold on to that ball that long. He's got to know the situation. I think he, as old as he is, I still think he's learning these nuances of being a starting quarterback in a really big place, and I don't know.
He's aggressive. He's I'd call him a gunslinger.
Yeah.
And gunslingers, kind of like Brett Favre. Brett Favre threw a lot of interceptions.
That's exactly who I was
because
thinking
he's
of.
so aggressive. You either live with that kind of guy or you don't. If you're going to live with him, you got to understand he's going to do that from time to time, and there's going to be some balls picked off. But the risk versus the reward.
Also,
I think the reward is worth it.
he puts a lot of air on the ball, and so there was a touchdown pass that got called back.
Oh, yeah.
And
Questionable call too.
you could call it questionable. The same thing happened in the Tennessee Georgia game, and I was okay with them not. To me, that's expected contact. Like when you're going up and fighting for the ball, you're going to have guys pushing off of each other. It's going to happen.
Depends on which officials are calling that game.
And so, to me, it's one of those 50-50 calls. I was okay with the result either way. Same at the Georgia game. That there was a slight push off, but to me, that's it's expected contact.
Yeah.
As long as you're not fully extending those arms and removing a defender out of the way, I'm okay with it.
So the next thing I want to ask you guys about the Volunteers, they stay put at number 15 in both the coaches poll.
Fourth week in a row.
Yeah, coaches poll and AP poll. I consider that a big time win. I do. I know Mississippi State wasn't ranked, but I consider that a big time win on the road in a hostile environment in the SEC, and you find a way to win that game. At Mississippi State, they're going to beat more teams they're not supposed to beat. They're better than what everybody thinks. Is that justified, Tennessee not moving up?
I'm okay with them holding put.
Same here.
I think good teams find a way to win ugly games. Like when you are not at your best and you are making some mistakes that you turn the ball over, you do those things. Good teams find a way to scratch out wins, and they went on the road and they did it. I think about a lot of good teams that stay undefeated or stay in the playoff race because they find a way to win those games. That's what kept Ole Miss out of games last year, is they needed to win games that they were sloppy in and couldn't do it.
So the reason I ask that is because sitting at number 13 in the AP Top 25 is LSU. LSU's one loss, Ole Miss. Tennessee's one loss, Georgia. I kind of feel like that should be flip-flopped.
I mean, it's 13 and 15.
One in the same?
I don't think there's that big a difference.
Where did
between the two.
Georgia? Where did Georgia fall to?
So they're 12 in the AP and 10 in the coaches poll.
Yeah, I mean, again, you can look at those. I think they're all right there appropriately placed.
I agree.
And if you win out,
Because it's an incomplete process.
yeah,
That's exactly right.
If you win out, you're
Fluid.
Gonna work your way up the board.
Absolutely.
If Georgia take care of business and beats Texas and Ole Miss, then they're gonna work their way
Absolutely.
up. If Tennessee beats Alabama and beats Florida and beats all these teams, they're gonna move up. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, so with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little middle school, high school football, and continue our conversation with college football from over the weekend, because there's just so much to talk about with that. So with that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime. Like Hardee's smoked sausage biscuit. Split Hillshire Farm smoked sausage on a made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. And our Frisco breakfast sandwich with cherrywood smoked bacon or ham on toasted sourdough. Hardee's, goodness in the making. Download the app and join my rewards for special offers. Available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
When competition is fierce, sports injuries happen, and Center for Sports Medicine and Orthopedics is here to help. Saturday sports clinics are available at our Chattanooga and Cleveland offices from August 23rd through November 8th for the treatment of non-emergency orthopedic injuries like sprains, strains, and fractures. Doors open at 9 a.m., no appointment needed to be seen by our highly trained physicians and clinical staff. Saturday sports clinic dates are subject to change. Check sportmed.com for the latest information. That's sportmed.com.
Not all composite decking is the same. Enjoy life's beautiful moments on an equally beautiful composite deck. Envision's products feature deep, non-repeating grains and distinct colors throughout each pour, offering a truly unique appearance unlike anything else on the market. Learn more and find inspiration for your project at Cleveland Plywood. Cleveland Plywood Company, 2700 20th Street Northeast in Cleveland.
This is Alfonso Revizo, General Manager over at Crown in Cleveland, your local Jeep and Ram dealership.
Do you suffer from unsightly leg veins? Are your legs turning brown or swelling? Do your legs feel heavy, tired, or achy? Do you have restless legs or leg cramps disturbing your sleep? These symptoms are signs of bad veins. Dr. James Gooden at Milligan Vein offers an office treatment that can make you look and feel better, and your procedure is covered by most insurance. Find more information online at milliganvein.com or call Dr. Gooden today at 423-961-5682 and get rid of those bad veins.
You work hard, you take care of your family, you handle business, but when's the last time you took care of yourself? At Magnolia Dental Center of Cleveland, we get it. You don't need pampering. You need honest, high-quality dental care that fits your life. No lectures, no pressure. Just a team that respects your time and gets the job done right. So don't wait until it hurts. Call Magnolia Dental Center today. Take care of your smile like you take care of everything else. Call 423-476-3307 or visit MagnoliaDentalCenterofCleveland.com to schedule an appointment today.
Imagine this, handheld pizza puffs filled with mozzarella cheese and pizza sauce, topped with buttery garlic drizzle, with either 3 herbs or pepperonis. Well, it's a reality. Little Caesar's Crazy Puffs. Pick them up at 3 locations. Call Huff, T Street, or McGrady Drive, or order online.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Duracell in Cleveland is now hiring mechanical skilled technicians $22 to $27 per hour. Excellent benefits beginning day one. Medical, dental, vision, paid vacation, holiday pay, 401k, tuition reimbursement, and more. Apply now at Duracell.com. That's Duracell.com.
So with that, got a quick giveaway for everybody here. The Dread Hollow Ruby Falls ticket giveaway. We're doing that right here on ESPN Cleveland. All you've got to do is text the Volunteer Ridipest text line at 423-749-1013. That's 423-749-1013 for your chance to win tickets. I believe 2 tickets, that is correct, 2 tickets to Dread Hollow at Ruby Falls. So all you got to do, text your name, and we'll just say Ruby Falls to 423-749-1013 for your chance to win.
Before we get to the middle school stuff, let's play these highlight clips we got from the Tennessee Mississippi State game. The first clip is a defensive back, Colton Hood, his pick 6 in the first quarter made it a 10-7 game.
Bothwell, the running back. Now Bothwell moves to the right of Chapin. Chapin Hit as he throws. Ball intercepted. 20, 10, 5, end zone. Colton Hood to the house. Touchdown! Big Orange.
I love the touchdown, Big Orange stuff. The second clip. Oh, go ahead.
So I was wondering, sometimes he's quicker on that call. Sometimes he pauses. I wonder if he's about to say Titans because, he used to throw that touchdown, Titans.
I don't know if y'all know this, but when he worked for the Titans, he was not allowed to say touchdown Tennessee.
Yeah.
That was a rule they had in place.
Yeah.
All right, this second clip is Tyree West, the sack, and defensive lineman Josiah Josephs returns it for a touchdown.
State leads 24-20. Play fake, shape and hit. Loses the ball. It's been picked up by the Vols. Josephs is running with it. 30, 20, 10, 5, end zone. Touchdown, Big Orange. Tyree West hit him. Joseph picks up the gift and rumbles to pay dirt. Tennessee back in front as they're stunned in Stark Vegas.
That was a big play because Mississippi State had the momentum at that point. They really did have the momentum, but that was a huge play there, the sack and scoop and score. This next one is the touchdown that Deshaun Bishop had in overtime to give the Vols that 41-34 lead.
5-man front for Mississippi State. They have 8 in the box. Going to give the ball to Bishop. Steps out of a tackle. 20, 15, 10, 5, end zone. Deshaun Bishop to pay dirt. Touchdown, Big Orange. One play, 6 points in OT.
That was huge, and of course, Mississippi State had the last chance. This next clip is the last play of the game. This is 4th down, and I thought this was going to be a touchdown pass, but he just could not complete this ball.
Bothwell on the left hip of Chapin. The snap, looking right. Looking back into the middle, firing, and the ball batted up in the air. Incomplete! Tennessee beats Mississippi State in overtime, 41-34. As the Vols overcome mistakes and show a gritty effort to get a road win in the Southeastern Conference. And man, did they need that. Final score, Big Orange 41, Maroons 34 in OT.
Like that, Maroons there, that call there at the end. Of course, Tennessee improves to 4-1 on the season, and they're on bye week this week, so Vols fans can rest easy. We can quit giving stuff away for a week, right?
Exactly. Hey, listen, we gave some tickets away to that game. You think the people that won that were thrilled to be there?
What a great experience.
What a great game that was. That game was really fun. And, Tennessee's defense, not exactly one of those quality defenses you think, man, they're a difference maker. But in that game on Saturday, they won the game for the Vols.
Yeah.
They scored 12 points. You had a pick six and you had a scoop and score. So big game for the defense on Saturday.
Can I ruin something for y'all?
Go ahead.
Now that you watch this, you'll see it every single time Tennessee does it. So anytime Tennessee scores a fast touchdown, whether it be a interception, fumble recovery,
I know what you're
a
about
quick
to say.
over the top, after the PAT, one of the offensive linemen is quote unquote hurt. And it sends them to commercial timeout, and they get a 4-minute break for their defense.
That's right. And they've been doing that for 3 years.
Yep.
That's wild.
They've been doing that for 3 years now.
I can't unsee it. And
No, it's every time.
Once somebody told me that, I was watching the game, and I rewound it, and I showed everybody in my living room. I said, watch, he's going to go down right here.
It happens literally, like you said, on a quick TD, on like something where the defense hasn't had time to rest. There's going to be someone hurt on the extra point.
Or when they're running tempo, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just
definitely going to be paying attention to that.
they've been doing it for this is 2.5 years they've been doing it.
You'll never unsee it.
So, of course, bye week for the Vols this week. You can imagine hosting Arkansas when they come back off the bye week. And then, of course, the big game down in Tuscaloosa against the number 10 Alabama Crimson Tide, who, and I'll be the first to say it, are a lot better than I thought they were. They're playing some good football. Huge win down there in Athens, ending Georgia's home win streak. Last home loss was in 2019.
Isn't that incredible? Incredible.
Yep. Tough game. I mean, you at the end of the day, you can't allow a team to win the turnover margin, to win time of possession, to be, I think it was 13 of 19 on third down, but like started off the game at like 8 of 8.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that and expect to win a ball game. I'm not going to be nitpicky about drops. I'm not going to be nitpicky about going for it on fourth down. Like the analytics said, go. They went. If one guy makes his assignment, he walks into the end zone. So like I'm not going to be nitpicky about that stuff. I feel like Georgia, when they play Alabama, they try to get outside of themselves.
I'm glad you're not going to be nitpicky because I'm going to be. Continue.
But I feel like they try to get outside of themselves, and when they settled in to what a normal Georgia defense looks like, Alabama didn't put up any points.
Yeah, the final score of that game, Alabama 24, Georgia 21 in Athens. This is my issue. The one thing that really irks me, and I get, like we talked about this before we came on the show today, I understand what analytics say, but when you're playing an Alabama team that has played you that tight in a game, you've got to take points when you can get them. You have to take points, especially when you're going to tie the game. If you don't tie the game, you're at the disadvantage. If you don't get the first down, you're at a disadvantage.
Don't you feel a lot better when you're not behind?
Yes.
You obviously you want to be ahead, but tied, it just feels so much better when you're behind. There's this, oh my gosh, you're freaking out. At least I am.
I just felt like it was unnecessary. I think maybe in a scenario in a little bit later in the game when you just really feel like you've got the momentum, I don't mind doing that. But if I'm a Georgia fan, if I'm you, Jacob, and I'm sitting there watching that, I'm saying, what are you doing? Tie the game up, and we can go win it on one of these next three. They got the ball 3 times after that.
Well, I mean, I did. I yelled, why are we not just tying the game up?
Yeah. I'm not a big analytics guy.
That was what I would have preferred to do. But I'm more so frustrated that we moved so fast that the booth couldn't even see
on the third down play.
Yeah, if Gunnar Stockton I thought he made it. Like I genuinely thought that he had enough for a first down. And you looked at how many times in that game the booth signaling down, like helped the team. Alabama multiple times they got it, and they signal it and they get the first down and they move on. We moved so fast, and I can understand why people are mad that Cash Jones was the person in the game. Well, here's the thing. On third down, he's pass blocking. He's your best pass blocker. And when you make that decision to go for it on fourth down, that's the guy that's going to –
because they're not pulling anyone off the sideline.
If you sub him out, Alabama's going to –
They get the sub too also.
And so that's
not only that, you're almost showing your hand of what you're going to do.
Yeah, and so – I hate, like, you have a drop touchdown pass.
So that was huge. That's the only other thing. And going back and kind of watching highlights of that game, who was that dropped the pass?
He's a freshman.
He blew some blocks throughout the game as well that could have resulted in some big downfield yards for Georgia, and he's just out there just lollygagging around, not blocking people.
Well, and that's something Alabama did really well too, is blocking on the outside. Like their screen game. Also the fact that they threw it to a 360-pound offensive line.
Yeah, Proctor, 6'7", 370 pounds, down deep in the red zone. They throw a screen pass to him for Alabama, and I believe they ended up spotting him out at the 2.
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah. By the way, how many times have you watched Alabama this year? Have you watched every game, at least some of it?
No, I just watched the Florida State game.
Ryan Williams, number 2, we know he's a freshman. He drops at least one ball every game. I don't know what is the deal with him. He never did that last year, but he had a couple drops against Georgia. One of them was wide open, and he flat out dropped it.
Well, so I heard an interesting stat about Ryan Williams. Really, the Georgia game last year is what put him on the map, but after that, his stats were pretty minimal. Like they weren't like blow your socks off, and everybody talked about him because he was the 17-year-old kid that beat Georgia and yada yada yada. After the Georgia game, I don't know that he had another game that wasn't an FCS game that he had over 100 yards in.
Yeah, this week the Georgia Bulldogs are set to host Kentucky. So talk about a team who's getting ready to get beat up on.
Well, and Kentucky, that's another coach who's on the hot seat.
Yeah. So, of course, we'll have that game. That's going to be down there in Athens at Sanford Stadium. Kickoff at noon right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. So, going to keep track of the Jacobs Bulldogs and see how they recover. And like I said, I think it's going to be bad news. Wildcats might see Coach Stoops hitting the road after a big blowout loss down there in Athens. Another game I want to talk about with you guys, and I hate this because I'm looking at our time, what we have here. Of course, we're going to have Chris Brown, head coach of the Blue Raiders, on with us here in roughly about 10 minutes or so. But I'm going to kind of bypass Ole Miss LSU here, but shout out Lane Kiffin for winning the big game and showing, again, how Brian Kelly's teams perform in big games. So just quickly touch on that one, guys.
Well, I picked Ole Miss to win because LSU can't run the football. They cannot run the football. Go look at the stat line. Go look at everybody they've played, and you look at they threw 5 interceptions or received 5 interceptions from Florida and only scored 20 points, and it's because they're one-dimensional.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to use that as a perfect example. You win a game by 10 points, 20-10, after intercepting a quarterback 5 times. That should have been 50 or 40 instead of 40-10 instead of 20-10. Every time I watch LSU this year, I'm like, yeah, but. Don't get me wrong. I think the defense is really good, but the offense is just okay.
Yeah, and honestly, that's why I thought Georgia had more of a chance. But with Jam Miller coming back for them and being just dangerous enough to pop off those 5 and 6 yards run, Georgia held them to 117 yards. But they were not just one-dimensional. They were able to hurt you in multiple facets. LSU cannot.
LSU dropped from number 4 to number 13. I think we're not alone in thinking this LSU team was vastly overrated.
Yes.
I think that Clemson win elevated them up, but now we know Clemson's not exactly what we thought.
Yeah, Clemson's not as advertised, and I felt that way coming into this season, that here we go again, LSU getting credit and not providing the proof in the pudding. They just haven't done it in the Brian Kelly era at LSU, and we're starting to see it. So I saw this story play on over and over with Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Had some really good teams there. Played for a national title there. Cannot show up or win the big game. Occasionally he'll get one. He'll get a cookie every now and then. But he struggles in those tight, close games, especially on the road. He'll find a way to lose a game. So call me a Brian Kelly hater. It is what it is. You just look at the stats. Look at the record. Okay, so this is what I really wanted to talk to you guys about. Oregon at Penn State, wide out.
Oh, it's a great game.
They're in Happy Valley. Oregon came out on top 30-24 in overtime.
Double overtime.
Such a good game. But talk about another crybaby guy who I bash on the show a lot, James Franklin. Not a fan.
He's 4-21 now against top 10 opponents.
And talk about struggling in the big game.
Well, they were chanting to fire him
when they were down 17-3.
Yeah,
you're right.
They were saying fire. So it's hard. It's hard because I feel like he's almost like our Mark Richt. Like he's going to win you a lot of games. But is he ever going to get you over the hump?
Here's the thing that Penn State, and I watched a good majority. And listen, when I was watching, I had the quad box going on, but I had it on, the volume was on the Oregon-Penn State game because that was the game I'm most interested in. They play ultra-conservative until they get behind, and then they turn it on. And they've got the players to turn it on. They've got some offensive weapons.
They do.
And it just, I'm like, why weren't you using these guys like this in the first quarter and second quarter? And that late in the third quarter and fourth quarter, Penn State looked like a completely different team.
Dan Lanning and Oregon are the real deal.
They are, man.
I'm sold. I'm sold on it. Yeah. Jacob says it's time for break. So with that, we're going to go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back,
that was a hint.
That was. He's trigger happy over here with the mouse. But with that, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have Cleveland High School head football coach Chris Brown on with us. But before we go to break, I do want to say this. Big weekend, big Friday, last Friday here in the community. 3 homecoming games. Unfortunately, Bradley lost to Oak Ridge in a very tight one, 10-7. Yep. Cleveland lost to a very tough Tyner team, 34-0. And Walker Valley beat Saudi Daisy 35-7. All of our high school football coverage here on The Drive is presented by Food City. When we come back, Cleveland High School head football coach Chris Brown.
The Drive will be back after a quick timeout. Stay tuned for more nonstop sports talk on The Drive, presented by Hardees.
Hardees is hiring. Join the Star Team. Flexible scheduling, daily pay, free meals, 20% family discount, plus paid vacation for part-time and full-time employees. Apply in-store or online at hardees.com today. It's time again for Don Ledford's annual pre-owned truck and SUV sale. Save big on their great selection of some of the finest pre-owned vehicles you'll find anywhere. They have all brands: GMC, Chevrolet, Ford, Jeep, Nissan, Buick, Toyota, Subaru, even a BMW. Truly something for everyone. Don Ledford Pre-Owned Trucks and SUV in Cleveland is the dealership to go if you're looking for quality, variety, and a dealership you can trust to back up every pre-owned vehicle they sell. They currently have over 45 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs for this special annual event with new arrivals almost every day. Go online to donledford.com and review the vehicles you're most interested in. Then visit the showroom at 4595 North Lee Highway in Cleveland to inspect and test drive your choice. You'll get a great deal during this annual event. So come today to Don Ledford's Pre-Owned Center in Cleveland, where they've been selling pre-owned vehicles you can trust since 1981. Hurry, this sale ends September 30th, 2025.
Your game week begins here with the players, the coaches, the experts. Big Orange talk and nothing but. This is Mike Keith, ready with your pregame scouting report from the people in the know. We break down every aspect, so you're ready for kickoff. Your pregame meeting happens here. Grab a chair, and let's talk some Big Orange football.
Listen to the Mike Keith Show Thursdays at 3 p.m. on ESPN Cleveland 101.3.
ESPN Cleveland 101.3 is powered by Duracell. For the past quarter century, Mix 104.1 has been your home for UT Vols football. That's something to celebrate. Vol 25 is here. ESPN Cleveland 101.3 and USS are giving you a chance to win tickets to all of the Tennessee road games this season. Each Monday before a road game, you can register to win tickets to that Saturday's Vols game. Vol 25 is brought to you by USS. Visit USSTN.com/Chattanooga. For more information, check out our ESPN Cleveland 101.3 socials on Facebook and Instagram.
Cleveland Tire Center, locally owned and operated for over 45 years. Cleveland Tire, your one-stop auto care shop in Cleveland. North Lee Highway, where the name says it all.
Need a new shop, garage, or other unique space? Explore post-frame building kits from Best Buy Metals. Best Buy Metals kits utilize steel trusses for the ultimate in strength and durability. When you need it to last, call Best Buy Metals. Stop by or visit bestbuymetalroof.com for your custom structure.
Welcome back to The Drive, presented by Hardees. Join the conversation. Text 423-749-1013. You can also listen anywhere on our website, ESPNCleveland1013.com.
Discover your new favorite sweet treat, the Mayfield Dairy Ice Cream Bar, now available in 4 delicious flavors: chocolate chip cookie dough, chocolate fudge brownie, caramel waffle cone, and cherry fudge chunk. Learn more at mayfielddairy.com. With that, our Food City, which you can find all your Mayfield Dairy products at Food City, but of course, all high school football coverage presented by Food City here on The Drive. We're with Cleveland High School head football coach Chris Brown. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. It's great to be here, guys. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, glad to have you back on with us, Coach. And so real quick, I want to kind of kick things off. Obviously, it's kind of a big deal around this community this week of the football season. If you could just kind of let our listeners know what's going on this week.
It's a rivalry games are always special, and I've been fortunate in my career to, seems like every year, be a part of a big one, including this one back in 2017. And we talk to our kids all the time. It's really easy to become overwhelmed and swept up in all the hoopla, but it's our job as coaches and as kids in the game to make it about the game itself and our preparation.
Coach, let me ask you something. Now, you've been part of this rivalry before. You've been part of the Baylor-McCallie rivalry, which, by the way, is going on this Friday. Is there something how do the players react when you talk about Bradley Central to your team? What's their reaction about this?
Well, I mean, first off, this is going to sound like Coach Steve. We're trying to talk about Cleveland. We're trying to talk about our own. We're trying to maximize our guys and focus on our schemes and our answers. And that's true every week. The more you talk about an opponent, the less you're talking about yourself. And I really don't think you get as good as you can.
Mm-hmm.
But, on the flip side, to answer your question, it's just so personal. They know each other. They're friends. When you're playing a team like Tyner or Tullahoma, it's just that guy over there. It's just that number two. It's what my coach says on the scouting report. It's not my best friend. It's not my cousin. And so it's just so deeply personal. It's hard to describe.
Coach, so many years, and I'm kind of going into this from the outsider perspective, but so many years we've seen this game where one team's favored more than the other, and it just goes the complete opposite way. Is that something that you're talking to your team about at all?
We talked literally today about the team that controls its emotions the best, the team that plays the least selfish, and the team that focuses on doing their assignment, not getting theirs, will be the team that wins, regardless of the record, regardless of the talent level, regardless of the experience. The team that controls those things is going to win, period. It's the way all rivalry games go.
Coach, over your years, you've been a part of a lot of big rivalries. Do you have a personal favorite or one that comes back to mind that you think of and like, man, that was a great game?
I've been so fortunate to call this my 20th year coaching, and really it's the one I'm in right now. It's the one that's right in front of my face. And if you told me last year, I'd tell you the same thing as last year's. So, I can't put teams on it or years on it. I can just say that when you're in it, there's just a different special feeling. And right now we're in this one, so it's this one.
Coach, I've heard so many great coaches say you can't worry about the past, you can't dwell on the past, because the future will pass you up if you dwell too much on the past. So on that note, kind of looking to the future a little bit, Bearden, Hardin Valley, and Farragut, looking on paper, again, you talked about Cleveland doing what Cleveland can control and doing what is within your guys' control to be able to go out and execute and do your job right. Those are 3 games after this week that are very winnable games that I feel like that could put you guys right into the playoff mix.
Absolutely. I mean, it's weird. It's crazy to say this, but the things that we're still playing for, the things that we were playing for at the beginning of the year, we're still playing for. Regardless of how the first 6 games have gone or whatever happens Friday, we'll still be playing for exactly what we set our goals to be. And I think, being such a young team, yes, that gives us a lot of exuberance and youth and resilience, but it's also like, so here we are again, just with an opportunity to get better for those next matchups. We're a team that can still literally get better on the field, and that to me is a scary but promising thing. Is what if we're playing our best football come week 10? And what if we've handled our business up to the end, and then we're right where we said we wanted to be, and that's alive in the playoffs with a 0-0 record?
Here we are. It's October by the time you play Bradley, and the season began in August. The players themselves, you've seen the development and the growth of some of these guys. Just talk about a couple players, for example, that you have seen the greatest amount of improvement and the way they're playing in October versus how they were playing in August.
Man, it'd be really hard to single out any one of them. When you look at us as a whole, we don't have normal freshmen and sophomores anymore.
Right.
You're not a normal sophomore if you started at right tackle the entire season. You're not a normal sophomore if you've played D-line and 6A football against some of the best teams in the state week in, week out. So, even though, you might be reflected on the scoreboard, we've got guys who have grown by miles and miles just by being man enough to do it despite being young and inexperienced, which I'm the most proud of. And again, they came out and had a great Monday practice today. So what does that say about their character inside?
Well, Coach, I tell you what, I know this community embraces the Bradley-Cleveland rivalry, regardless of what the records are. And like Andy said, I've been here. I've lived here since the early 70s. I can't tell you how many times one team had a significantly better record than the other when they played each other, and there were the team that you least thought had a chance came out on top because the emotions and the ebb and flow and the you get all this You get momentum is real in football. You just see it. So if Cleveland, if you guys come out and you get, like a good early go, get going pretty good early, I think you've got a real shot in this football game. I really do.
Well, I mean, we feel like we have a chance in every game, and we better. Otherwise, we haven't done our job in preparation. And, it goes back to one of the first questions you asked me. The team that controls what it can control the best is the team that's going to win, period. That's the way all rivalries work.
Well, Coach, before we let you go, I'm going to throw a stat out here. This is for you. I hope you got some players listening, and for obviously all of our listeners. The teams that Cleveland has faced in the first 6 games of the season have a combined 5 losses so far. Combined 5 losses. The teams that you faced the last 4 games of the season have a combined 15 losses. So I'm just putting that out there that don't count the Blue Raiders out yet. That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right. You're exactly right.
Well, Coach, man, we always appreciate you coming on the show with us. Always a good interview, and wish you guys the best of luck Friday night. Excited to keep up with that game and follow that one. That's obviously a huge one here in the community.
Oh, appreciate you guys so much. It's a privilege to be able to speak to y'all.
All right, Coach, have a great day.
Y'all too. Thank you.
And you really can't throw the records out when Bradley and Cleveland play. We've seen it. Obviously, we've had some times where, like those Cleveland teams back in the 90s, it didn't matter. You weren't going to beat those guys. But more often than not,
unfortunately, they didn't get to play those games.
I know.
In the 90s.
But more often than not, you really can't throw the records out. And like he said, because there's this, I know this guy, and I know his weaknesses, and you can exploit him on the football field.
Well, I know this for a fact, and I think Jacob will probably back me on this. His brother-in-law played for Coach Floyd. He's mentioned that on the show before. But I guarantee you right now, this week, starting today, it's Cleveland week for Bradley over there. I promise you, Damon Floyd addressed his team by saying, I don't care what their record is.
That's right.
Yep. I promise you that.
Yep. Yeah, and, I mean, like, there's a sense of pride to it. Like you said, I loved his answers because this is how I felt about this rivalry my entire life. I've played in it. I've been in it. I've watched it. I've seen it. The team that can control their emotions the best and do their job wins.
Yep.
And it's hard to control your emotions when you are playing against guys that you go to church with, when you are playing against guys that you've grown up with, that you've played in basketball and in baseball and in soccer and every sport since you were 5 years old, you've been facing these guys in some kind of capacity. It's about the team that keeps their head on straight and doesn't have those stupid
15-yard unsportsmanlike penalties.
Type penalties that kill a drive. Because what could happen? Bradley gets the ball on the 20-yard line. After the play, somebody hits somebody on the head. Now you're backed up inside your 5. Fumble happens. You've given them a free score.
A free board, yeah.
It happens every year. And so you have to go in with the mindset of, I don't care what their record is. The next play is the most important play. You have to keep your head on straight.
Yeah, so big week here locally in high school football, of course, presented by Food City. Bradley 4-2, hosting Cleveland, who's 0-6. But like we said, throw those records out the door. Should be a fun, exciting game. And I promise you, Cleveland's going to show up, and I promise you, Bradley's going to try to put it on them. So definitely going to be following that one because Jim and I are going to be down in Hamilton County on the road with Walker Valley, who's 5-1, taking on host East Hamilton, who's 6-0. That game, huge region implications.
Yeah. By the way, Steve and Bridget, they're going to do their show from Bradley on Friday morning, so that's going to be fun to see.
Little mixed mornings over there.
Yeah, so they've done it at Cleveland, they've done it at Walker Valley, and now they're finally doing it at Bradley. So we're excited about being out there.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So of course, high school football, we have you completely covered here on our family of stations. You'll be able to catch the action with that along on Mixed TV this week as well for Bradley Cleveland.
Yep, excited. Isn't it amazing how fast this season is flying?
It really has.
Goodness gracious. It is crazy.
Big fall break coming up next week. So, of course, Cleveland.
He's got to work on his tan. Come on.
That's right.
I know. Hey, down there in the Florida sun, hey, it's hurricane season. I'm just hoping nothing turns that way. And
you'll be fine.
Yeah, Cleveland and Walker Valley are both going to be off next week, fall break. Bradley, I believe, is
they're
playing Saudi Daisy.
Yep.
Yeah, so
not exactly an easy win. That's a winnable, but it's not going to be an easy win.
Saudi Daisy stuff, but
they're solid.
I'm taking the Bears.
Yeah, if Kenyon Phelps is in the backfield, I genuinely think that they can just do what they do best, and it's just wear teams out and be completely disruptive. The thing that Bradley has that is just an ace in the hole is their defensive, really their front seven.
Yeah,
is just
dirty. They play tough in the trenches.
That's the key. Man.
Hey, that slogan, "Bust face," man. They play that way.
Yeah.
And real quick before we go, I want to say this: whatever happens in that Bradley Cleveland game, non-bias here. I want to see a good game. I hope whatever happens, we see a finish like Virginia and Florida State.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
Squirrel White. I don't know if they know where he's at still.
He got trampled after the fan.
Bro,
I've never seen a field swarm that quickly.
That was crazy.
If an SEC team did not have a barrier in front of their student section, like, you would never hear the end of it.
Oh, they'd be getting fined like crazy.
Well, you better believe that they're getting fined. That, one, how fast it happened. Two, the amount of danger that was in that situation. I bet you there's probably a temp fence up already today. Squirrel White probably had to be shoveled off of the turf.
He disappeared. It was crazy. Well, hey, listen, 6 o'clock. We're pushing it. We hadn't went overtime here in a while because we're actually doing what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But, hey, listen, it's a Monday. We had a lot to get out to you, and glad we were able to get most of it out there. We could have done a whole nother hour just on high school and college football.
We didn't even talk about the postseason in baseball. We'll do that tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll recap the end of the Braves season as well.
Yeah. Also,
emotional. I don't get to go home and watch Braves baseball tonight.
Also the end of the Mets season.
Oh, my goodness. The Mets will Met. With that, that's your Monday episode of The Drive right here on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. For Jacob and Jim, I'm Andy. Have a great evening, everybody.
It's time for a Don Ledford of Cleveland traffic update on ESPN Cleveland 101.3. Don Ledford Chevrolet Buick GMC, located on North Lee Highway in Cleveland. Or visit donledford.com for details. Don Ledford, where we say yes. It's on-time traffic with Commander Chuck.
Good afternoon. A couple of accidents in their cleanup stages. It remains heavy at times. 153, certain sections going southbound. Over here at Airport Road, Shepherd Road, 153 busy across the dam back into the Hickson area. Cranking up pretty good with more volume. On 75, starting up over White Oak Mountain, pushing up towards Cleveland, Bradley County. Blackstone Grill, Chattanooga's new restaurant. It's open for lunch and dinner. 3018 Cummings Highway and Lookout Valley, Blackstone Grill. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
From the Alon Planning Partners